What is this? Okay, so I had my yogurt maker covered in a towel, covered in some temperature food wrap, and okay, my yogurt is ready. So you'll see that I double stacked it. I'm trying to cheat the system a little bit by making double the capacity of my normal yogurt by, let's see here. So this has been going on for 18 hours. So I've had these. This is the over-the-counter probiotic yogurt that I've had culturing for 18 hours. And these should be good. And this is submerged in water at about 105. And then the ones on top here. This is the combination L. reuteri and L. gasseri and a couple of other yogurt culture blends that we normally let go for about 36 hours. But because it wasn't properly or fully fermenting, you'll see a lot of whey on the bottom here. I don't know if you can see, I see all that whey water. It's normally it's fully solid, but this time because of this format, because it wasn't fully submerged in the 100 degrees water, you'll see that it hasn't fully fermented. And this one we've had going for about 48 hours, longer than usual, because I wanted to see if we let it sit here for longer, if it would fully culture and go solid, but it has not yet. And it's probably because it hasn't been submerged in 100 degrees water. So the temperature wasn't right, even though I had it covered and towed up. So let's take a look at this now. After 48 hours, I mean, the yogurt itself looks fine. So this is the, all right, let's take a look at this. See, it's got a lot of whey this time. A lot more whey. Okay, but it still looks fine. It hasn't spoiled, it's good. Let's see how the taste is. Yeah, there's some tartness, sourness, but not as much as I would normally get with 36 hours using the proper temperature. Okay, so this yogurt here, or this milk culture, contains this BioGaia L. reuteri, and L. gasseri here, this mix, and also this probiotic. So it's a combination of all three of these that are in this culture. Okay, and that's this. Let's cover this up. This is still good, although I'm going to say that the quantity of the bacteria is probably less than I normally would get because of the temperature issue. Now this is this here, which probably should be good, is now this is this particular product, this probiotic that we use to make this yogurt milk culture, and it contains all of these good bacteria. Look at all that. So we turn this into yogurt, slash milk culture. Let's see if we can get this out. And the water temperature is nice and warm at 105. And let's open it up. Ooh, interesting. Okay. Yeah, look at this. It's like how nice and thick it is. Nice and thick with no whey, far less whey than I had previously. I think the secret to getting a fuller, thicker yogurt culture with this particular probiotic strain is to use more inulin. So before I would use about maybe half of this spoon, and this time I use a full spoon for this container here. And then I guess the yogurt has more to eat, more food to eat, and thus we get a thicker milk culture. So let's see how it tastes. Thicker, a little more sour than I usually get. So definitely a little more inulin helps getting a thicker milk culture. So I think next time what I'll try is, I was trying to double stack this and get double the quantity with the same amount of time, because it does take 36 hours to get the L. reuteri, L. Gasseri culture. I think what I'll do next time is use these large containers, fill them with water, and then stack them on top, and then put the glass container inside, and then hopefully the water will better regulate the temperature. So I had to set this at 105, and I was thinking, well, if this is 105, then maybe whatever's on top is going to be a little less than that. But perhaps the temperature wasn't quite right, and that's why the L. reuteri, L. Gasseri culture came out this way. Even though I cultured it for 48 hours. So at 36 hours, it kind of looked like this. So I left it in longer to see what would happen. I left it in for 48 hours, and it still looks like that. So it didn't really change much. All right, thanks. So I'm going to make some more yogurt. So what I'm going to do is grab some of the yogurt from the freshly made batch, maybe a teaspoon, put it inside this container. This is my quicker way of making the yogurt mix. I'm going to use a Zojirushi container, steel. Get a couple of spoonfuls of this. This is the over-the-counter general probiotic culture, which is this. It's got all this good stuff in it. Okay. And then I'm going to add my inulin and some milk to mix it all up. So instead of using a spoon and mixing it inside the container and stirring, which is kind of tiring, I'm just going to mix it in here and shake it. This is the inulin. I'm going to grab 2 spoonfuls because I'm going to make 2 containers. So I noticed that if I use more inulin, the culture comes out thicker and the bacteria seems to thrive more. And maybe a little more. And there's less whey. That's what I just recently noticed. All right, so it's all in there. See that? It's all inside. I'm gonna pour some milk. So this is the milk I'm using, Fairlife whole milk, which is lactose free. Now if you use lactose milk, the yogurt does come out thicker and smoother. Honestly, it does come out better, but I don't want the lactose. There you go. And the Fairlife version does have more protein, less sugar. The sugar actually feeds the culture. So if you use half and half with half cream, again, the milk culture / yogurt will come out smoother, thicker, better tasting. So it's up to you. After I add the milk here, let me close everything. I'm going to shake it up. So I seal the top tight, and I'm going to shake it up. Now you have to shake this up vigorously and for a while. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Now here's the last batch that I just moved into this container. Okay, look at that. Look at the consistency. No way. There's no way liquid water in this one. And I'm going to refrigerate this, and I'm going to use the same container to make the next batch. Okay, I'm continuing to shake this. Now if you shake it vigorously for, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute, it should be fine. You might get some inulin kind of stuck around the sides or the bottom. So you just kind of scoop that up and mix it up with a spoon. But this is a lot easier than mixing everything manually in the container itself. Okay, let's open this up. It's all bubbly. Did you notice how the final batch, once the milk was cultured, you saw some bubbles up here? That's probably because of this. It does get bubbly. All right, let's do kind of a spoon mix, and let's feel for any inulin stuck in the inside. We'll do a little manual mixing before we put it in the glass container. Okay, feels good. I don't feel any inulin stuck anywhere. These are my two last glass containers of this particular batch, which is the over-the-counter probiotic. This one here, this brand. So I'm gonna just pour half of this milk mixed with inulin and the older and a couple of spoonfuls of the yogurt. Half of it in this container, the other half in this container. So let's see, pour half here and pour the other half here. Okay, we'll try to spoon out the rest. And then we're going to add milk. So this has already got the old milk culture or yogurt, and it already has the inulin to feed the yogurt or feed the cultures and the bacteria. And I'm going to add some milk here. See how it's all foamy on top? Add milk here. Okay. I'm just going to do a final mix to mix the new milk. Look at all that foam on top. It's okay. Just do a quick mix here to mix all the old bacteria, probiotic culture with the new milk, inulin, and the old yogurt. Same on this side. Okay, hopefully this old glass container here is still sanitized and there's no outside bacteria that's gotten in. All right, that's about it. That's all this is a lot easier to do. This process with using the container and mixing it and shaking it is a lot easier. Okay, now this is done. So I'm just going to put the lid back on, and it's ready. It's going to incubate for 18 hours. Put the lid on. I'm going to put it back into the yogurt maker. Okay, and the water, when you put both containers into the yogurt maker, the water should maybe go up to this line as high as possible. And I'm going to drop this last one in here. And oops, make sure the lid doesn't open. Now, both of these are ready for culturing, and this is going to go for 18 hours. Now I'm going to make another batch, and this time I'm going to try that stack method again, but this time in water. So I'm going to sanitize this with water, with hot water. And I'm going to make a second batch, but this time I'm going to make the L. reuteri, L. Gasseri mix. And that's going to have to culture for 36 hours. And hopefully this second batch comes out better than the last one, because I'm going to have the glass containers in these bigger bowls with water inside. And hopefully it'll regulate the temperature better. I'm finished re-sanitizing this container, but actually when I think about it, you don't have to do that. You could just use whatever was in there, the over-the-counter probiotic that was in here already with some of the milk and inulin. You could have just used it. You could have just mixed that in with the L. Gasseri, L. reuteri mix, and it would not do any harm. It would just grow with the other culture, which is fine. So actually, now that I think about it, I didn't need to re-sanitize this and discard the old the old mix. Here is the freshly made batch of the L. Reuteri, L. Gasseri. I'm going to get a couple of spoonfuls of this, of the L. Reuteri, L. Gasseri yogurt. Put it in the container. My next culture. This should contain hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of live bacteria. Yeah, look at the result. It didn't come out as good as I had hoped. Using the double stack method, I shouldn't have all of this whey. But the whey is still edible. And it contains lots of good bacteria. So you shouldn't necessarily discard it. If anything, you should just discard it in your garden or give it to your pets. Okay, maybe that's enough. But the majority of the good bacteria will be inside the yogurt itself. All right, now I'm going to add the inulin. Add 2 large spoonfuls of inulin. Okay, maybe a little more. 2.5. Okay, I'm going to add the milk now. Again, I'm using Fairlife whole milk. Just enough milk so I can mix this. Shake it and mix it. Put the cover on. Shake and mix vigorously for, I don't know, 30 seconds to a minute. Preferably with 2 hands. Okay, I'm going to mix it some more. This is the empty container from my last L. Reuteri, L. Gasseri batch. Now I'm going to pour my mix into this. So we'll pour about 50% into each container. Oops, okay. Add more milk and top these both off. All right. Give it a final mix with the fresh milk. Those bubbles. Final mix. Okay. Put the lids on. You could also just use plastic wrap. Now for my unconventional experiment. So I'm going to put water in these lids. So I'm going to put one of the yogurt cultures in here like this. I'm going to add water. And hopefully the water here will regulate the temperature better. Add water all the way to the lid line. Container lid line. Okay, there it goes. Like that. That's good. And I'm going to stack another container on top of that. And then I'm going to put the second L. Reuteri, L. Gasseri container. And again, I'm going to add more water to this. Now it's stacked. I'm going to set this unit to 105, and hopefully the temperature here will be less than 105. Although 105 is still okay to culture the L. reuteri and L. gasseri for 36 hours. So these are gonna culture for 36 hours, and these two on the bottom here, the standard over-the-counter yogurts, or the standard over-the-counter probiotics, I'm gonna culture that for 18 hours. (105) and 18. Start. Okay, here we go. So now I'm going to cover everything. Try to cover it well. That way the heat doesn't disappear or dissipate. Now fully covered in a towel. I'm trying to retain the heat in the units. I'll put another towel over this. So now I've got a second towel covering the unit. So the heat should be better retained. The two yogurt containers on top this time are immersed in water. So the temperature should be better regulated, unlike before where it was just sitting in air, just on top. And we'll see what happens after 36 hours. Hopefully we get better results. Thank you.